What's up guys, it's that Panda Guy and I'm here again with another video, and today we're actually going to be looking just through G1 through 3. I know I did this last time, but I actually do not have a ton of time today to record the last two brackets. So I'm going to do G1 through 3. I promise I'll get back to doing the G1 through 10 or G1 through 5 stuff, right? If it comes down to island raid, I might go further since those are usually easier to review. So next island raid, I might go from G1 to 10 or whatever. If you guys are interested in that, whatever. But yeah, we're going to kind of hop through here. I think like the most interesting brackets usually are G1 through 10, but it's kind of weird this time, alright? And I'll tell you guys why. So when we're looking at G1, this was very particular because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it's ROK and HMB merged right now in ROK versus DHX, LAS, and all them, right? But it's very particular, this matchup, because if you guys don't know, LAS is ROK family, right? And I'm pretty sure, right? Like this is ROK family, so I don't know why they would throw them on a team with DHX. Not to mention, I don't think DHX was like 21 billion when registering. It was like what, 17 billion? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're only like 17, maybe lower than that right now. And I'm pretty sure they were lacking a lot of their top players. So going into this, I already think that they were at a disadvantage. I think that LAS, if they like do fully show up, which it's kind of hard to imagine they'd go full out fighting against ROK given their family, you know what I mean? But if they do fully show up, this would give them a potential like kind of foothold in this bracket. But it just does not look promising at all, kind of considering how everything's arranged. I just think that I honestly think that they're kind of screwed here with this pairing, you know what I mean? But I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see how they show up. I think NM49 always is getting tossed around in these brackets and screwed over. It's kind of rough. And weren't they? I forget. I forget if I think they were in the winning side last time though. So I mean, maybe that could have impacted it. Honestly, I think no matter what, like what team goes with ROK here, ROK is probably still going to win, but I did hear that they ended up deciding to go with Crimson, which honestly I think Crimson just has some really strong guys right now, like Akalon. You have Work, and this dude's gear is almost maxed. I'm assuming their armaments are also smacked up. You have Thick One, like you already have three freaking Balukas over here. You have MBD. MBD are obviously known for fighting. The thing is, you can have a really good fighting team, but you might not know if they'll come fully, you know, come into G1 going ham, you know. But if these guys are determined to fight, you know, I think that they show up, right? So I'm usually confident when I see MBD, which is a nice thing. It's kind of like one of those names that you see regularly. They might not be like Mega Whale group of the Mega Whale group, but they are still a really good fighter group. You also have Ilaw. I don't really know a ton about these guys, but they did have some pretty big players as well. Same here. I don't know if these guys are like whalish. They're pretty big as well. So I don't know. This team is looking really tough. Then you have Azure, and I think Azure was also looking pretty nice, but honestly, I think on a comparative scale, I think that they were just kind of lacking maybe the same whale power that Crimson kind of had, and I think that they had, well, they have Jack here, right? They have Jack. This dude's pretty big. I think they had another one maybe I missed. Either way, I just don't think that they have the same whale power. I also am not sure about these alliances because they could be big fighters, but they're not as notorious. For example, as like I said, MBD. I just know a lot more about MBD than I do about some of these other groups, so I don't know how they would feel coming into a bracket like this, especially if it comes down to Jay deciding, all right, well, this isn't a worthy bracket for us. We're kind of screwed here, especially if DHX thinks that, right? Because like I said, I don't know how it's going to be with LAS here. I think LAS is kind of one of those flaky teams that's going to be kind of hard to decide who they're working with, you know, because the ROK family, right? Like it's super hard to work with them there. So in my opinion, DHX, I mean, they would be fine just going for all the reward captures and then dipping if they don't know if LES is like actually going to show up. Otherwise, like I don't think it would be kind of worth showing to this bracket. Not to mention ROK honestly had some pretty good teams on their side, and I think ROK alone probably would have been just fine. Like ROK should have been their own legion, honestly, given how the circumstances. ROK got these two teams with them, you know, and they both look they both look fine to me, right? So honestly, kind of looks rough for DHX. Honestly, I just would not want to show up to this bracket. Like this merger is pretty massive, ton of mega whales, so it's gonna be pretty hard to fight against a group like this. ROK is looking like they're coming in strong, and now we're getting to G2. So now, talking about G2, I'll actually tell you guys right off the bat, Boone did a split for this island. It might have been a lot of factors. I think one of them was just how soon AR came up again, so we kind of split up. And I'm not in Boone right now because, well, they split up, so I just stayed in Prime, right? But you know, a lot of them aren't here, and I don't even know if Samuel or Red Bull registered with these guys. Like I swear Red Bull registered with a different alliance. So I don't even know who's in this alliance. I swear they registered with like 11 to 12 billion might, you know what I mean? So they're obviously down quite a bit, like a few billion at least. A lot of their mega whales are gone. I know Big Daddy didn't register here. HXG, I mean, honestly, I think HXG usually at least shows up in a tough bracket, which is nice. I don't know a ton about Look here, kind of. I know Cozy isn't a fighter group, so honestly the Legion's looking a little bit shaky, especially considering Boone isn't at full power right now. That's just not a good look, right? We look at Golden, we have MGM. I know MGM. Thing is, it's kind of like the MBD for me, except on a smaller scale. I usually think that MGM kind of shows up pretty well. I think that if you have MGM on your team, they're probably going to be filling those rallies. You know what I mean? So I think that it's looking good for H&B. Not to mention H&B also did slim down, but they slimmed down a lot less than Boone did. You can see a lot more whale power here, and I just don't think that Boone's going to really have the capabilities of kind of fighting it out on like a 1v1 scale right now. So they'd have to have support of another team. And for example, you have Crimson here. You have, and it's actually really sucky because HAO is here, right? And I think this is what Boone kind of needs, like someone like MK. You know, they need that MK power, guys. You remember last AR, which was only like a week ago, MK was freaking monster, but they would need that MK power. But you got to understand, they got ANCS on this team. They have OOA, and OOA has like Watson, who's from HMB. They have this guy, I'm pretty sure he's from HMB, right? And I think they're just visiting Region 13 probably for, you know, the easier matchups or rewards, whatever the case is. And then you have, like I said, ANCS, who is just naturally going to be more inclined to ally with HMB. And I just, like, I don't see this being realistically a great situation for Jade, right? Like, especially if they're having to fight a group like HAO. And I mean, I will say, I'm not going to just only prop up HAO. I know I meat ride on MK a lot, but, you know, this is, I'm pretty sure BOD, I don't know why they renamed. But BOD is still a really strong group. They have some crazy whales here, and honestly, I would argue that in this scenario, they might be more jacked up than Crimson, right? And it actually might do more good to ally with these guys because you just have a lot more players kind of on that scale compared to, I would say, Crimson. I think that Crimson might just be lacking that same whale power. I will say, obviously, OOA does have, Watson and him, so if they're online, they can help with launching other rallies. But overall, I think that most of the whale power in this Legion is definitely coming from UOD, right? And if Boone gets them, I think that they might have a better fighting chance. But honestly, in my honest opinion, I just don't see Boone having a great chance at winning this bracket. I think whoever's going to ally with HMB here has a much better chance. I just think that they're lacking too much whale power right now to kind of compete in this bracket. And honestly, the matchmaking is a little bit weird here in all these brackets, if you ask me, just because, like, in G1 and 2, isn't the bracketing just a little weird this time? I don't know. Maybe it's just because they rushed it again. I feel like the alliance pairings are just a little weird for me, at least in G1. All right, so now we're looking at G3. I think G3 is a little bit better. You have 147A. 147A, I would say they're pretty notorious for being good fighters, right? Like, they have a lot of really high tier players here. I'm pretty sure I've seen Liam. I've seen one of his heroes, and I swear, I don't know what hero it is. It has to be, it's either like a Bella or it's one of his heroes, right? But he has a 6 million my hero, I think, or it's something along the line. So I already know that this dude is jacked out of his mind. And not to mention 147, they do show up, they do fight, so that's a pretty good group. You have EXEO, pretty nice size group here as well. I'm not really sure about like I haven't seen these guys in a big bracket like this. Maybe I have, maybe I just like haven't really seen them in action, but I guess we'll see, right? We'll see how that kind of turns out. And then we look at Jade, and we'll kind of see how Jade's going to fare here. They have Evil, you know what I mean? Evil's looking pretty big as well. Evil is a pretty big group, and I think that they're a pretty strong group. But honestly, at first glance, well, I guess they have Zoo as well. I know Zoo's. Honestly, they have a lot of big groups with like a lot of I would say it's not like a lot of whales mixed between them, but it's like spread out, you know what I mean? They have a lot more spread out players. So honestly, I think that this one could go either way, and I guess we'll have to check out like the legions in this bracket to kind of get a better understanding. I mean, you got this guy maxed out gear. His ID is only 1/6, so he's much younger, and I guess that can explain his only like 300 million kills given his gear. You know what I mean? I mean, let's check out more of these alliances. I mean, this honestly looks really good. Just off the might alone, 9 billion right there. That is pretty tough. I don't think these guys are like mega whales, but T6 presence wise, or just like field presence, I think that they could do that. You know what I mean? I think field presence is going to be the biggest issue for Azure, even if it's not like big tower fights or anything, because obviously you can have a really big player like this dude's 200 million plus, and he doesn't have like all full white parts or anything, but he still looks pretty solid, and you never know. It's kind of like that Liam guy in 147. I swear you would never expect someone like this to have like, and you know, he looks strong, but he doesn't look like he'd have a 6 million might armament hero. And I might be thinking of the wrong guy, but I'm pretty sure this is the guy who has the 6 million might hero, and that's gonna be like, that's like a game changer when you're going in on towers. So it's kind of hard to determine how strong some of these groups actually are realistically, because I think people just realize that working on armaments are much cheaper. You know what I mean? Like maxing out your parts is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but working on your armaments, I feel like getting a 6 million might hero or something is probably much cheaper than maxing out all of your parts, which would take probably tens of thousands of dollars if I'm not wrong. Especially if you're like rushing it would take a lot more. So having impressive parts isn't what people care about anymore. I mean, if you could have impressive like gear on your profile and armaments, boom, you're set for life, obviously. But yeah, now we're gonna look at Crimson, right? We have BTW, and BTW is down a lot of might. So I guess either they, I don't know if they like I mean, we can look right now. I don't know if they just split for this island. I don't know if that was the case or what. I mean, I don't really see them in these other groups. I mean, I guess they could be in one of these, but I don't know. Maybe did a lot of 26 leave? I don't know if 26 left the region or if they like went to a smaller alliance or what happened. But I swear, I don't know what happened. What the heck? I mean, there's still 6 billion, I guess. I have some whales here. I'm actually surprised that they're. Okay, wait. Yep, there it is. Okay, I was so confused, guys. I was like, "There's no way they fell apart that fast. Like they were looking strong just last week, right?" But yeah, I guess they split off for that one. I mean, they have a little bit of whale power still in BTW right now, but it's not like their main whale power. You have R4W. These guys are like, I would call them older players, not whales, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they'd put up a pretty good fight. They just don't have like whale power to kind of be tower fighting. Mink, maybe I think it's the same situation. You know, they don't have that like mega whale power who can kind of run down a tower. And I guess all we got left is Abyss, which I mean, they have some whale power here. I think it's so crucial that you have that whale power though, because if you're going into a bracket like this and you don't have someone who can man towers, for example, if Crimson is going up against Golden and they come up mid, they're gonna get crushed on towers by people with like these 6 million might heroes, and let's say their top heroes only have 3 million might. They're just not gonna be capable of taking remotely good trades. Whereas, you know, this Legion, and I'm gonna assume that this guy shows up because sometimes you have these mega whales who are really big, really strong, and they just don't show up. You know, they don't show up, they don't run rallies, they don't run garrisons, and that's one of the biggest letdowns ever, is like, you know, that's that guy you need a crutch on, but he's not showing up. You know, he's not here, and you needed him the most. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll kind of see how the things turn out here. I don't know. I think that Azure is the more optimal ally here in this choice. I feel bad saying that, but Crimson, I just don't think that they have as much like whale power, right? Like I think that's like their biggest downside. And honestly, I think the legions are a little bit more even. I honestly think that Golden has a little bit higher odds at winning this, in my opinion. I just know a little bit more about 147, and I think that they just have like a lot more spread. And just me knowing that they like 100% have a 6 million my armament right there. But even then, it's like maybe Evil has the same thing. I guess we'll have to see. You know, I might look at G3 more than I look at G1 and 2. I might actually record this bracket because I just think that there's more balance there, and I don't know how G1 and 2 is really gonna turn out with how like the balance is. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of weird to me, like the matchmaking in those two. That's just kind of my take there, though. You guys let me know how you feel about this video. I do appreciate you guys as always. You guys tell me if your bracket is any good or bad. If you're just gonna skip this one and play Island Raid next, you know what I mean? Because it's not a bad choice. We have an event every week now, okay, guys? So now you can choose if you want to participate in this one, if you want to sit it out, if you want to just do Island Raid next week, which I think is a really nice feature, you know. Because I think that's like the one good thing about having these things so frequent is if you get really screwed in matchmaking, you can just choose, all right, I'm going to participate next week, because now I don't have to wait a month and play the matchmaking roulette wheel and just hope that I'm really lucky. You know what I mean? I can get unlucky all month and it's not going to hurt me a lot, besides maybe missing out on some tokens in that shop, obviously, and missing out on a little bit of rewards. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think, how you guys feel about this matchmaking. If your matchmaking was any good, if you guys are in any promising brackets, okay? And yeah, I do appreciate you guys always for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy it. And that is about it to the video. And peace out.